was a personal dream to be a writer. I didn't want to be a flight attendant. I sort of then fell into flight attending and found that I loved it. I love working red eyes. I'm a night owl by nature, and the flights are quiet, and I could work on my own stuff. I could write. I had the idea for falling while I was working a flight. I was standing at the front of the plane. It's a red eye. Everyone's asleep, and I'm looking out at the passengers. And I have this thought that their lives, all of our lives, are in the hands of the pilots. I just couldn't shake the thought. And I just threw out one day to the captain, hey, what would you do if your family was kidnapped and you were told that if you didn't crash the plane, they would be killed? And the look on his face terrified me because I knew that he didn't have an answer. There was just that spark inside where you're like, this is something. I will not be able to rest until I've figured out what the answer to that question is. I started writing. It was a long process. 30-some drafts. 41 agents rejected it. Every single one of those rejections, I felt. It stings. I felt like quitting after every rejection. If I gave up that close to the finish line, I knew I'd always regret it.
TJ Newman did not give up. Falling drops next month. It's about, as you heard, an airline pilot whose family is kidnapped and he is faced with that critical decision. The woman who created it all joins us now. TJ is at her home in Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It's lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you. You know, I love, and I think something that will resonate with a lot of folks watching, TJ, is you were at the finish line and perhaps you didn't even know it. You're going through the process and you hope that that pot of gold, so to speak, is at the end of the rainbow. And it's closer than it feels sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you never know when you are at the finish line. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what keeps you going because the no's keep coming. But you just got to believe that that one yes, it only takes one yes, and you have to believe that it is there if you just keep going.
I remember being in college, and I had a professor that I adore, but she said to me, you know, what makes you think you'll be that one in a million? And I thought, well, why not? You know, it's the same reason we play the lottery. You might win, or sometimes I play the lottery. You might win. So those no's, that yes can be around the door. Now, in the process of this book, which I love that you were asking pilots technical information, gathering the storyline. First, I've got to ask, when you ask a pilot that question, did he not want to kick you off the plane? I'd be like, lady, who are you and why are you asking me this?
I only asked the one pilot, and once I saw the look on his face and I knew that there wasn't a page in the manual for the question that I asked him, I thought, you know what? I want to figure this out for myself. So I only asked him and I didn't ask anybody else. And then I just solved the problem for myself.
Were you able to create without fear, or were you creating this novel worried if it would be accepted?
You know, it's kind of the way that pilots and flight attendants are trained to think, right? We're trained to think of worst case scenario and what we would do if we ever had to face it. We spend a lot of time studying previous accidents or potential accidents or incidents so that in the unlikely event that something does go wrong, we're ready and we've already thought through how we should react.
Well, I mean, when I heard the premise of the book, I thought to myself, okay, I could see why a publisher would be interested in it. It's juicy. It's a thriller. It's got you on the edge of your seat. But you had 30 drafts. You submitted your book. 41 agents said no. Was there a common theme as to why they were saying no?
I think the fact that I'm an unpublished author, I don't have a platform, I think all those things are the typical things that kind of work against you. But now that I did get my one yes, and now that this is happening, I like to focus on just knowing that it wasn't the right story for them. It wasn't the right fit. And when I got my agent and my publisher, that was the right fit.
How did you motivate yourself to keep going? I think that's what so many people want to know. When they're trying and seemingly failing or not getting what they want, how do you keep going?
I kept reminding myself that I didn't come this far just to come this far. And anytime I would forget that, or the voice that told me that I should get up, that I should listen to the 40-some people who are telling me no, that it's not good enough, if I couldn't believe in myself enough, I'd lean into the people that love me, that believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself.
So your support system around you, lifting you up in that difficult time, because you said in the setup piece, that rejection, it stings, and it can mess with your confidence and your pitch and your self-esteem, even your ability to create the content. So you finally get a call, and it is a yes. Take me to that moment.
Well, I got a call. I actually missed a call first. The call from my now agent, I missed. I thought it was like a telemarketer robocall. And so then we played phone tag for a couple of days. And I was actually going on a hiking trip. So I was going to be in the woods for like a week with no cell service. And I left a message saying that and said, if I don't hear from you, I'll circle back when I come out of the woods. And that night, I'm driving with my friend to our hotel before we go out into the woods the next morning, and a call comes in. And my friend that I'm with, she doesn't know that I've even written a book. Wow. She knows nothing about this. So I pull the car over, I put it in park, and I answer the call, telling her before I do, like, this is going to be weird. I promise I'll explain everything afterwards. Just bear with me. So I take the call, it goes well, and I hang up, and my friend is just kind of staring at me like, what was that? And I look at her and I say, I don't know for sure, but I think there's a chance my entire life just changed.
Wow.
And it did.
And it did. You ended up with this massive 7-figure book deal. As I said, there's a bidding war now for it. Does the money validate it, or that you got the yes validate? It's more validating.
The yes is more validating. I don't think anybody goes into writing for the money, and you don't go into flight attending for the money. And before that, I was a bookseller and I pursued theater. So money has clearly never been a big motivating factor in my life decisions.
I'll tell you what, we interview a lot of authors around here, and you are the first that did not have your book propped up behind you, which is, I mean, why not? I mean, you're talking about you were selling books, you got a book, and it's nowhere to be found, TJ. You've got everyone else's book behind you.
This is true. Well, maybe that's the vibe, is that's been such a wonderful experience in this process, is feeling the support from other writers. It's been, I had so much rejection going into it that I think I kind of thought that the whole experience would kind of be like that, sort of scarcity mindset based. But everyone has been so supportive and so generous and enthusiastic that maybe I do just want to support other people in the way that I support it.
I love it. Well, you're supporting other people by sharing your story of how you got there, because even though we're talking about a novel and a book, that's just a universal theme of life. How do you get up? How do you thrive after you survive? So congratulations on the book and all of the success. It's so well-deserved.
Thank you so much. And it's like you said at the top, like you said to yourself, why not me?
Yeah.
And I hope everybody watching this, knows, well, why not you?
100%.
I promise I can do this, and I had no connections. I had no way in. You can do it too.
Absolutely. With TJ, you did it. Thank you so much. TJ's book, Falling, is out July 6th, and everyone in our audience, virtual audience, getting a copy of the book. Get ready. You're going to be on the edge of your seats for this one.